Hi everybody, welcome to today's Vehicle Visionary. Today we're going to take a look at the 2022, and I'm only going to say this one time because it's such a mouthful. This is the 2022 Mercedes-Benz AMG GLE 53 4MATIC. If I said that multiple times throughout the videos, I'd love to see how lit up the comments section would be. So we're going to look at this polar white model today. And being that it's a little bit overcast, this is going to help us right off the bat here as we take a look at the headlights. Of course, you're going to have those double J blade daytime running lights. Got this on right here, and if you don't know how to turn that on, even though somebody was annoyed and said I shouldn't do this in every video, we're going to do it anyway. Talk about how to turn the blinkers on if you don't know how to do that. The Panamericana grille, unique to the AMG models for Mercedes-Benz. You're going to find the AMG badging numerous places on the vehicle, and of course that iconic Mercedes-Benz logo right there, nice and large. And as if that's not enough, of course you'll have it again right here on the center of the hood. I like the fact that the hood has character lines to it. It's not just flat. You've got some lines that are raised here that kind of taper off towards the back, give it more of a racy look that way. I really like that. One thing that's awesome here, while this is the GLE 53, it's just a 6. Not that I'm trying to piggyback off of any names of prominent YouTube channels out there. That doesn't mean it's weak. Let's pop the hood and find out exactly what motivates this model. And before we open the hood, there is one thing that's going to be very important when it comes to gas mileage, and I'll make it easy on Carrie so you don't have to walk as far. You've got the air curtain right here. So what's going to happen is the air is going to enter right here. We apologize, the front end's a little bit dirty. Hopefully you won't be able to see that much, but the air is going to come out on the other side. That's going to reduce drag and help to give the gas mileage numbers that we're about to tell you about right now. Okay, here it is under the hood. The 3-liter turbocharged 6-cylinder, 429 horsepower. That's a reasonable amount of power for any motor. 384 pound-feet of torque, 0 to 60 in 5.2 seconds. That's pretty impressive for an SUV of this size, mated to a 9-speed automatic transmission, and of course 4MATIC, so it's going to be all-wheel drive. But when necessary, this system is smart enough to know to send all of the horsepower to the rear tires. But let's talk about those gas mileage numbers. And obviously the air curtains down there are going to help a little bit with this. 18 miles per gallon city, 22 out on the highway. But here's something that might make that mean a little bit more. If you top the tank off in this GLE, you're looking at an estimated, at least according to Mercedes-Benz, and I know there's a lot of variables that can factor into this, but they say you should be able to drive 405 miles on one tank of gas in the city and 495 out on the highway. And one last thing, I like to mention this just because it's one of my personal favorite options. At the price point of this model, a little bit over $109,000 the way this one's spec'd out. You would expect when you open the hood here, and yes, there are Mercedes-Benz owners who will probably do that because some of us are gearheads out there, you wouldn't expect to be looking around for that rod to put in place and hold the hood up. So you're going to have those hydraulic struts right there. They just make it so much easier. Hey, when you take your GLE to Cars and Coffee, it just cuts down on the time you have to spend opening the hood and getting it to stay in place. We'll take a quick look at the remote. There's no changes, obviously, for 2022, but for those who may be researching for the first time, here's what you have. Now, one thing you might not have seen there, you might say, okay, for being a 6-figure price tag, there's no remote start. Well, not on the remote. No pun intended, by the way. I didn't rehearse that. The remote start is actually found within the Mercedes Me app that's going to install on your cell phone and basically pair your phone to the vehicle. That way you do have remote start. Of course, you're going to have the power folding side view mirrors. I think I have the ignition on inside still from having the lights on earlier, but these are heated power folding side view mirrors. You can have the turn signal indicators built in right there. Let's talk a little bit about tire size here. On the front, you're going to find the 275 45s, 21-inch wheels. Now, you'll still have the 21-inch wheel on the back, but it's going to be a 315 40 in the rear. A little bit of a different size because you want a little bit more grip back there, so that's going to have its advantages. And we'll have Kerry work his way around here to the rear. Of course, one thing I'm kind of surprised at a little bit, maybe a little bit of a zonk, so to speak. The wiper being right here out in the open, it seems like it would be more concealed up here just kind of because of the price point and the luxury level here. I'm sure we'll see that in the future, not necessarily a deal breaker. Now let's see, since I don't do this every single day, let's see if I can do this correctly here. If I can get the, there we go, the power tailgate to open up. Let's talk a little bit about what you're going to find back here. 33.3 cubic feet of cargo space. And now I can't lower those rear seats, and we'll show you why in just a second, but you can lower those flat to maximize your cargo space. Of course, you're going to have the cargo cover here to conceal whatever it is you may want to hide. If you're maybe shopping at the mall or whatever, go back inside, leave something here. It's going to be safe under that cargo cover so nobody can see that it's there. One thing that's very impressive here, in my opinion, the towing numbers, according to Mercedes-Benz, rival that of full-size SUVs such as the Suburbans, the Yukons, and so forth. 7,700 pounds. That's pretty impressive in my personal opinion. And of course, as you can use the hands-free function to open and or close the rear lift gate, there's also a couple of buttons right up here that you can use. One that just closes it on the left-hand side. This one right here will close it and lock the interior at the same time. I'm just going to close that, and we're going to start our interior tour. All right, I said I was going to show you why I couldn't lay those seats flat. For you parents out there that may be interested in one of these GLEs, no matter what model it may be, maybe you're wondering, how are my child safety seats going to fit? Well, we're giving you a first-person look at how that actually works. According to the owner of this model, they had the previous generation. It was a 43, not a 53. But she said the child safety seats didn't fit as well back there. In fact, they really weren't best for the leather seating, the leather interior on these back seats. Now you don't have that problem of kind of creating an indentation and potentially damaging that. A lot more safety back here as well with that for the kids, so that's good to be able to use that and know that it's not going to cause any problems with the interior. Of course, there is in a couple of USB ports you'll find there. You got your climate control and all that kind of stuff. Kerry can hopefully get in there and give you a decent shot of that before we hop into the front seat. All right, one thing I always like to tell everybody, leave your comments and tell Mercedes-Benz what you would like to see changed, because one thing you won't find here is a panoramic sunroof. We've got the conventional size here, so there is a sunroof in this model. Would you like to see a panoramic sunroof? Well, obviously that's important, and you never know who's reading your comments, so I want to have Kerry go ahead and show you the door panel over there as he started with. You're going to find heated and ventilated seats. Of course, you've got all the adjustments for the seat right there on the door panel, by the way, which are in the shape of the seat, if you haven't noticed that before. Very large door bins. I like the fact that Mercedes-Benz does that very well. We'll open this, even though there's a few things in here, so you can maybe won't be able to see as well how much space there is, but there is a reasonable amount of space. It's a very deep glove box right there, and I like the design of the seats right here. They're comfortable. You've got a lot of bolstering. If the driver wants to drive spiritedly, you can have a luxurious, spirited driving experience. I don't think I've ever said that before in a video. And as we hop inside here, I'll have Kerry hop in here. One of the things I really like here is the fact that right over here is the button to fire the engine up. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach up here and I'm going to pull back on the shifter paddle as I hit the start stop button right there. It's called emotional start. When I started it for the exhaust clip, that initial kind of burst of sound that you heard, the exhaust baffles open up and that's what you hear. You probably won't be able to hear it as well here, but we'll try it. And another thing I like here is that start-stop feature that's really not the best thing for your engine or your starter. If you want to turn that off, it's right here, so I do like that. It's a little overcast today, so I like the fact that you can see the ambient lighting a little bit better than you would be able to if it wasn't for the fact that we have an overcast day. The blue always seems to show up well, so I'm kind of glad that's what's set here. So let's talk a little bit about features and functionality. Of course, you're going to have the same basic setup here on the driver's side door as you do on the passenger side, including the seat memory. 3 settings, not only here on the driver's side, but that's also on the passenger side as well. Something you don't always see in even a higher end luxury vehicle like this. So that is good. And of course, here on the steering wheel, the AMG Performance steering wheel, that is a very comfortable steering wheel. I like the size of those shifter paddles. And even though somebody recently said it's like in every video, well, I'm going to show you how to use the blinkers anyway. In case that person's watching. We're just having fun, not trying to be mean. But for those of you who have never been able to afford this option before, maybe you didn't know it was available on the vehicle you were buying. This lever over here is not just for controlling the functionality of the windshield wipers. When you push that in the up position, everything on the right-hand side is going to blink. Well, the blinkers are, I should say, not everything. And you push it into the down position like that, it's going to do it on the left, and that lets people around you know what you're doing when you're driving down the road. Can you imagine being that courteous to your fellow drivers? I even got a laugh out of Carrie on that one. That's pretty good when the cop is laughing about my traffic jokes. Okay. Being a little more serious here, you've got the steering wheel mounted controls here, the ability to scroll through on the center screen right there, that 12.3 inch, which is a touch screen, by the way. A lot of you in the past have told me you wanted a touch screen for the MBUX system. That's what Mercedes-Benz has given. But you can also use what I call the mini trackpad up here on the steering wheel. I know that's not what it's really called, but that's what I like to call it. So you can work your way around that way as the driver. The same thing here on the left-hand side for the digital dashboard there. Another screen there, obviously not a touch screen, but dual zone climate control here in the front, all the things you would expect to see. But let's take a look at what you have here on the screen as far as settings for the vehicle go. And obviously it's pretty easy to figure out. There's all of your assistants and all that good stuff. One thing I really like here, we talked about the ambient lighting earlier. If you want to go in and change that, and there are 64 different colors to choose from. You can also change the brightness if you want to. That's not set as bright as it could be, but since this is somebody's personal vehicle, I really don't want to go changing things like that. But here are the options. Obviously, you can go through and change a lot. Again, don't want to change too much here because I don't want to change the way they have things set, but you can choose multicolor, you can choose even welcome, and depending on what is going on, of course, the vehicle can cycle through different lights and all that kind of stuff. We're going to change the lighting just a little bit here. I don't know that you're going to be able to see that as well, but we'll just kind of work our way through a couple of the colors, not all 64, I promise, but just so you can kind of see what is there. And here's a nice feature, of course, nothing new, nothing that hasn't been around for a long time. We're going to go into reverse and you can see the backup camera. As you can see right there, you also have your 360-degree view from overhead. Hopefully I'm not getting my hand in the shot too much there. But as you can see, it's just kind of the position where we are. Here are all of the different angles. There are cameras all over the place on this vehicle. You won't have any trouble seeing whatsoever. Of course, you're going to have all of your connectivity down here, cup holders. And maybe you're like Monk and you don't like touching the screen and getting fingerprints on the screen. Well, you still have the trackpad right here if you want to use that to control the screen. And of course, you've got a lot of other one-touch features. You can even cycle through your driving modes here. Let's just take a look at exactly what you have. Sport Plus, of course, Sport, Comfort, Individual, Slippery, and Trail, Sand. You know, we're talking about, is this the ultimate trail to track luxury mid-size SUV? Well, definitely have a lot of options on what you can do as far as driving goes. You also have active park assist here as far as if you need to get into a really tight space and maybe you're just not comfortable doing that, you can do that. And right here, if you're wondering what exactly is that, that's where you're supposed to basically position your wrist to make it easier to use the trackpad. And finally, last but not least, bombs away, there's the bomb bay doors. A little more connectivity in there. It's actually pretty deep down inside there. It's kind of hard to tell because the owner has a few things in there. But obviously, one of my favorite things to do here, that 429 horsepower and 384 pound-feet of torque, is the test drive. Let's hop out on the road and see how this model handles. Interesting thing, if you take a look at the center screen, and I hope you can see it, because we're trying to fight the glare here a little bit. But what's interesting, we talked about the numbers are supposed to be 429 horsepower, but we actually got more than that as we were going down the road here. But it's really interesting to watch the engine data on the screen right here. It's just, what else can you do in a vehicle like this? But we're going to go out here for our quick test drive. Of course, it's an AMG, so it's going to have some exhaust crackles. Still not as much as that 4-liter V8, but let's just see what we can do here. I'm going to downshift. Probably pulled that one a little too early and then it changed gears for me, but that's okay. We're just having a little bit of fun here. But that's the thing I love about these models, is the fact that it truly is perfect for the track, it's perfect for the street, it's perfect for the trail. It doesn't really matter where you go. Of course, like I said, and I'm sure the comments will be full of people saying, oh, that's not made for the trail. Well, maybe not like a Jeep or something along those lines, but still, it does have some off-roading capabilities. And then talk about the fact that you have the air suspension that's going to help out with the ride quality, of course, and you can raise and lower the height of the vehicle with that air suspension. So if you are out on the trail, maybe you live in a place where it's just better to drive or have an all-wheel drive vehicle and lift the vehicle up because of the grade of your driveway coming in or going out or whatever the case may be. Let's downshift a little bit here. Didn't really have enough RPM going there, but we're going to let some traffic pass here. But I'm going to tell you what, even with this being the 6-cylinder, it still is a lot of fun to drive. So we're going to hop out here and we're going to do a little bit of a launch here. Make sure we're safe to do this. There's nobody coming. Here we go. Even getting some breathing exercises out of the carry, which means we're moving pretty good. It's not quite like the Tesla, but
no, we're strong enough to, for a 6-cylinder.
And for being an SUV, a mid-size SUV, the handling characteristics are phenomenal. But that's what you would expect. Very well balanced suspension, very well balanced chassis. So Mercedes-Benz, well, doing what you would expect Mercedes-Benz to do. And hopefully nobody on the road thinks we're trying to race them, but we're going to cruise on by and just have a little bit of fun here. Let's just see if they want to mess with us a little bit. The Charger doesn't want to play. Better make sure that I think the radar detector is saying, slow down.
I'm sorry, can you say that again, please?
Oh, I don't have anything to say, Mercedes.
I'm sorry, but I can't help you with that right now.
Well, I haven't talked about how you can talk to Mercedes. Again, for those of you who are not familiar with the MBUX system, you can ask Mercedes a lot of questions. You can even ask her, hey, what questions can I ask you? I'm not going to do that because the answer is probably upwards of a minute in length. We're not going to put you through that. But I am a little bit on the warm side, so let's try this. Hey, Mercedes.
How may I help you?
I'm hot.
I'm setting the temperature on the driver's side to minimum.
So there you go. There's one little example. You can have her change the settings for the ambient lighting. You can do this. Hey, Mercedes, how much gas do I have left? Okay, maybe I went too far with that. Let's try that one more time. Hey, Mercedes. Well, maybe I made her mad. One more try. Hey, Mercedes. Well, I guess she doesn't want to talk anymore. I shouldn't have told her to be quiet earlier. Now she's mad at me. Oh, well. Well, I think that's probably enough. We probably need to head back to the house after the test drive and wrap things up. But I have to say, I almost want to ask the owner, hey, can we do a full day test drive and just see how it handles and do all that stuff for a full day? Kind of a mini long term. Probably not, because she needs it to get around and do different things. But that would be kind of fun, wouldn't it? Absolutely. For you car makers out there that want to give us a courtesy car, hey, I won't complain about that a bit. Not that we're dropping any hints, right? And that is a quick tour of the 2022 AMG. Well, you know the rest. I don't want to go through all that a second time. I said I wasn't going to do that multiple times through the video, but I got to say a special thanks to the owner for loaning me this model for the day, or loaning us, because Carrie's helping out on the camera. And of course, all of you for being kind enough to give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video, check out this section of the screen over here. It's somewhere over here. There's a couple of more videos you can watch. Click on one of those, and I'll see you there.